Hi guys, live from our cryptid camper. I'm Tom here with my good friend Shay, and we'd like to thank you for joining us in season 1, episode 23 of the Scare Your Pants Off Our American Road Trip podcast. On today's episode, we are setting up camp in Delaware. So, how you doing today, Shay?
I'm doing really, really good. I actually had fun researching Delaware, but I found it to be pretty tricky actually. How do you feel like you made out?
Yeah, a little bit tricky. Just real quickly, I'll talk about it. So I had the haunts this week, and there's a lot of haunts there, but like I've been trying to go for stuff that's maybe not in a house or not in a hotel because I feel like we've done those a lot. Um, so I found a really cool story about this place called Idalia Manor, and this story had everything from yeah, I mean, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but I had suicide, people going crazy, experiments, possible zombies, everything like this. And great story. I did it. I have a bunch of notes on it. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, I got to verify some things. It turns out I couldn't verify a thing in it. I think the guy was real. The fact that his daughter committed suicide was real, and some of the stuff that he did, but like most of it I could not be verified because it turns out this place is actually like a really huge haunted park that opens up in the fall for Halloween season and stuff, and called Frightland it's part of. So I was really bummed because the story was awesome. But so like I said, I couldn't verify, so I ended up going different. So long story short, yes, I agree with you. Delaware was tough. Delaware was tough.
I feel
So,
like that's a glowing advertisement though for that haunted attraction. That's like a absolutely glowing advertisement for them because that's I mean, how cool is that? How awesome is your haunted attraction that like it completely had you like, oh my gosh, this is terrifying, and you're not even there, and you're like, this is a scary story, and that's awesome.
yeah, I sometime we try to get down there. It's in Delaware, Middletown, I believe, Delaware. Yep, Middletown, Delaware. It looks like a blast, this haunted park. It would be a lot of fun to do. So, definitely. So, you watch anything good recently?
You know what I checked out, and
What's
I can't remember if I told you about it or not. But I started watching. It's horror esque, but it's a really kind of cool show on Netflix, and the episodes are really short. But it's called Oats Studio,
okay?
and it's every episode is just a different situation. It's like some of the episodes are like post-apocalyptic and like maybe how the apocalypse happened. Some of it is about like robot testing on humans. And
Ooh,
there's one that it's it was gross. It was like a little gory, but it was so funny, and it was infomercials for stuff that obviously would never really be sold in real life. And it's so funny. So I don't want
definitely.
to give too much detail because obviously there's short episodes, and I don't want to spoil an episode either. But oh my gosh, if you're ever on Netflix and you're bored and you just want to watch a quick little something here and there, check out a couple of the episodes of Oat Studio.
I'm definitely going to check it out. That sounds really cool and right up my alley. Right up it. I'm
What
gonna have
about you? You watch anything good?
so yeah. I watch a lot, and it's with my schedule working nights. It's like sometimes I fall behind on a lot, but what I'm right now, I'm obsessed with a bunch of shows that are based on podcasts, and it seems like all the best shows right now are based off of podcasts. There was Inventing Anna, which I watched, a few weeks back, which was great with the I forget her name, but she was in Ozark, the blonde. She
Ruth,
played
yeah, yep.
Ozark, great show. Then there was The Dropout about what's her name? She created Elizabeth. God, why is her last name? I'm drawing a blank, but she was the creator. Her company was Theranos, the blood company, and she was supposed to Elizabeth Holmes.
Okay.
And a revolution, like how we take blood in this. She would, instead of getting a normal needle arm, it was just going to be a prick. 1 or 2 drops of blood could tell you the same as a whole vial of blood. And things go off the rails. It became a big scam. She scammed a lot of people. People got hurt because these tests were inaccurate, and she was lying about them, saying they were, and it was telling people they had HIV when they didn't, or they didn't when they did. And just, it was a really crazy story that's still happening right now. She was found guilty, and I believe we're waiting on sentencing right now for her.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a really cool one based on the podcast, The Dropout. And then The Girl from Plainville, which is about Plainville, Mass, right around us. The girl that got her boyfriend to commit suicide through text message, starring Elle Fanning, based on the podcast, The Girl from Plainville. Excellent, excellent show. Elle Fanning's excellent.
She's amazing, yeah.
She's so good in this role. And the girl from and then The Thing About Pam with Renee Zellweger. And some people don't like it, they say it's too like almost out of this world, but it's pretty accurate to the true story. But I get it, because part of the format, they format it different than a lot of shows. It's very podcasty feel, the way they do. They have like a voiceover in the beginning of the episodes and stuff, kind of podcasty, and I'm loving that. So those are just some of them. I'm watching others, but check out any of those. Because I know you're into true crime like I am.
I am.
And yeah, these are all true crime stuff. So it's very, very, very good stuff.
Very cool. I'm going to definitely check them out.
Yeah, they are worth it. So, well, I think today you have some a cryptid.
I do. And so I feel, so have you seen Wayne's World?
Mm-hmm.
I feel, and again, I've actually briefly been in Delaware. I've driven through Delaware, and it's beautiful. And there are so many things that you'd want to visit in Delaware, and seeing the history is just, it's amazing. But for the cryptids and the strange encounter that I had, I was left feeling like Wayne and Garth when they were filming their little show, and they were like, we're in Delaware. I don't know. I was struggling to find really much. And as far as the strange encounter goes, all I could find were like little tidbits of we saw lights in the sky. There might have been lights in the sky. There was a blue light in the sky. There was a yellow light in the sky, but there was no meat to any of the stories. No real descriptions, not even names. And the locations were vague at best, and no idea how many people saw anything or anything. So I'm going to go a little bit of a different route.
Oh, so nice. Very cool.
Delaware has very few cryptids. And actually, they didn't have their first Bigfoot sighting until the early 2000s. Bigfoot. That's crazy to me, right?
Wow.
So in typical me fashion, I did notice something with two of the cryptids that I did stumble across. So I'm going to talk about two different cryptids today. I'm going to talk about one now, and then I'm going to wait to talk about the other one until after Tom talks about his hunt. And then if you don't already know by that point where I'm heading with it, first of all, you don't know me very well. And second of all, you will shortly after. So I'm going to start talking about the Deer Man, which...
Ooh, okay, I'm here for this. I've never heard of the Deer Man.
So the name kind of fits. And just like I think a couple episodes ago we were talking, or maybe even last episode, we were talking about the... Bat Squatch. I like when a name actually, like, this is what it is.
Yes.
So the Deer Man is described as being gigantic. He's bipedal, part stag, part human. Huge antlers coming off of his head. Now, if you know me, you already know where I'm going. And if you can't see my face, if you happen to be watching my YouTube video, my smile is quickly approaching my earlobes, and I'm super excited already.
I know where this is going. Nice.
So the the torso often is considered to be human-like, and the legs are also considered to be human-like. In some cases, it's said that it looks like a full-on deer standing up, even with the torso and the legs, but most of them actually say it's more human in the torso and legs than anything.
Okay.
So there's another description of this, and I can't, and I get how you could see this. I also can't fathom in a scary situation being like, wait, let me check this out real quick. One of the descriptions is that it's extremely muscular. I don't know. I don't know a lot of experiences with different cryptids that people are like, hold on, yep. I'm gonna check that out.
Nice. Yeah. It's like
it's just I mean, and good for the deer man, I guess. It's I don't know. But it's balls, I think, to really sit there and check out, like, can I get a feel of the pecs, or like, I don't know what you're doing here, but it's exciting. They're said to be extremely fast, and some believe that it can transform into the deer man from a normal deer, but most believe that that's actually not the case, that it is always this deer man. So there are numerous sightings of the deer man, and most of them are off in the distance. So you silhouette, a shadow, almost always running, or like kind of just seen between trees. However, one small group of people, it's a boy, his father, and his grandfather, were on the edge of the woods, and they were rushed by one.
Ooh. It
ran at them, and the grandfather stood his ground. The balls! I can't even. Right?
Those older guys, they're so tough too. Like, like, I could just picture this guy just being like, "Bring it!" Like,
exactly. To my pleasant surprise, though, you know what they didn't do?
What's that?
They didn't shoot at him. Like every other cryptid, this time they did not shoot at him.
Yeah, it's guy. If you're a newer listener, you might not know this. Go back and listen to them. It's very common for these people on first sighting of these people just to start opening fire on them. Just like, I don't know what that is, so I'm gonna shoot it. It's like,
even if it's not approaching them, they shoot at it.
Yes, so that is very refreshing to hear.
It really is. So when, like I said, the grandfather stood his ground, and this creature stared at him and just gave him like the eyes and whatnot, and then all of a sudden just turned and walked away. Wow. And that was it. That was the encounter. It turned and it left. Now again, didn't chase him, didn't shoot at it, didn't any of that stuff. And it's if you think of how big this thing must be, I mean, it had to have been so scary. And to be a kid and seeing your grandfather like nose to nose with this thing, he would be my freaking hero.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, and for it to just calmly walk away. Wow, crazy. So
most sightings are by campers or hunters or hikers, because it's always like in the woods or in wooded area. And a couple of the occurrences that one of these things was seen, they hear a loud scream, akin to that of a banshee. And I know how much, I know how underused banshees are in a lot of things, and how rarely you hear about it. And I know it's such a cool addition to it.
Yes, love it.
So the depictions, a little more detailed, often talk about the torso looking like there is torn flesh, that the ribs are nearly bare, like almost coming through, and it's a lot of times is accompanied by a burnt smell, and it also has glowing or distinct red eyes. So, yep, I'm gonna leave it at that. That's the deer man, and I'm gonna zip my trap and say nothing else until the next part.
So I loved it, and I I have a feeling I know where you're going with it, and we'll talk more on the other side. Just a few things I love. Like you said, the Banshee aspect. I love it. Way underreported cryptid, and I know, like, especially in the United States, it's not a common one. I believe in like Ireland, the United Kingdom, you hear a little bit more about banshees and stuff, because it's a little more ingrained, especially within the Irish culture, ingrained in there. So I love that, because I'm fascinated by always have been. I remember just from being a kid, and Scooby-Doo. And a lot of times the bad guy within it, the haunt within it, which you always found out was a person, but a lot of them were like banshees and stuff. So I love that. And just the description, I love it. Love the story about the old man, like, because I just think of these guys, the older guys from a different generation. They're just tough as nails, even at the age of 90. Because I could picture that guy being 90 and just being like, "Bring it, dear man. Bring it, dear man. Let's see what you got."
I'm badass. I love it.
From the greatest generation. It's like, so yeah, and so I'm excited for our conversation. I don't want to talk too much because I'm excited for our conversation on the back end here. So, but I'm pretty sure I know where you're going with a lot of those descriptions, because it's especially as soon as I heard the word antlers, I was like, okay, I can see this. So anyway, I had the haunting this week, and I at the top I kind of went through my disappointment, as because that other story was great, but this one's great too. Much shorter, but it's still a really cool story. And again, I've been trying to find stuff that's not just like a typical house or hotel or something like that, because those are great, don't get me wrong, but I feel like we've done a lot of them. So it's like I'm really drawn to like the highway with the hitchhikers, stuff like that. So this one is called, have you ever heard of Maggie's Bridge?
No, very out of the box though. I'm excited.
Yeah, I was drawn to this. So Maggie's Bridge is located in Woodland, Delaware. So the story goes that in the late 1800s, a young, pregnant Mary Bloxham, and that's Bloxom, was traveling by horse and carriage down Woodland Church Road, about a mile south of the Woodland Ferry Landing. When the carriage was crossing a bridge that went over a small, narrow part of the Nanticoke River, the horse got spooked. So much so that it reared back on its hind two legs and went over the side of the bridge, pulling the carriage with it. The accident was so horrific that the horse was killed instantly. The carriage was destroyed, and the young, vibrant, pregnant Mary Bloxham was decapitated. So sad, pregnant woman. So that's essentially like the story of the accident. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about like the haunts, because they're pretty interesting, and it's a little different. So the local legend has many different versions of what happens when you call out to Maggie from the bridge. But the most common version is that if you go to the bridge during the witching hour, and for those of you who don't know, the witching hour is that hour from midnight to 1 a.m. It's considered the witching hour. And so if you go to the bridge during the witching hour and call out Maggie, 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 so you say her name 3 times, you will hear hooves on the roadway coming towards you on the bridge. So then if you call out a second time, Maggie, 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 again, you got to say it 3 times, you will see a shadow in the figure of a human come out of the woods near the bridge. And then if you call out a 3rd time, Maggie, 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 again, 3 times, Maggie's ghost will emerge from the woods with her head in her hand, wanting you to reconnect it and wanting you to bring her back from the dead. So, one local resident who claims to have witnessed this and done the whole calling out to Maggie claims that, and this is in their own words, Maggie can be seen best on the night of a blue moon. When her name is called, a strong breeze comes whistling through the trees, accompanied by little flashes of lights that look like lightning bugs. So I thought that was kind of, it's almost poetic sort of description of what happens.
Yeah.
And then just some of the other strange things that happen in the area that are supposedly tied to Maggie is that people claim that their cars start to act strangely on and or near the bridge. They'll die suddenly, won't start, shift in and out of gear, shift between gears, park to drive to whatever. Or and some have even claimed that, the cars, they shut off their car completely because they're going to get out in a minute or two to go check out the bridge, and that their car will just start moving while they're in park and the car shut off. So
that's scary.
Yeah. And that's essentially it for Maggie. So it's a short one, but I thought it was a pretty cool one.
So, and I love anytime we do a haunt that has a ritual. I love it. I think it's so cool. I have to ask though, and I don't know that I've ever actually asked you this. Would you do it?
This one I would.
Yeah?
This one I would. There's other ones that I remember one you talked about where they drove backwards around a tower, and then you actually see Lucifer. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna do that. I'm not trying to hang out with the king of hell. I'm just not. It's not. But this I might, because she does come up to you, but it sounds like it's very gentle. She just wants you to, even on the third time, it's just she wants you to reattach her head or somehow bring her back to life. It doesn't seem in any way malicious or malevolent or something. So I think I would, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was what kind of drew me in, these sort of games or whatever. So what about you? Would you?
So I think I agree with you, and I think with specifically this one, yes, I would probably do this because it doesn't seem malicious. It doesn't seem harmful.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I know which one you're talking about. I definitely wouldn't do that because I also don't think I have the skill to drive backwards around a building like that.
Yeah.
To top it all off, but then my mind automatically goes to one of the biggest games when it comes to haunting stuff like that. What about the elevator game? Would you do the elevator game?
That one I go back and forth on, because I really want to do it just to kind of see, especially after all the publicity you got after the Alyssa Lamb out in LA at the hotel and everything like that. So, and then the evil episode, so
that was great.
It's coming back soon.
I know. I can't wait. I'm excited.
A couple weeks, I think, right, or something. So, so that one, I go back and forth on. Because I would really want to know if it's real, but then I'm really afraid of getting stuck in a different dimension.
Well, yeah, because at that point, you get into an elevator, you're like, okay, I'm going to try this, and there's a list of steps.
Yes.
And you don't have to be very far in before you realize, oh shit, this is working. What do you do? You can't really just stop and then, but now it's working. And I don't know that I would ever have. I don't know that I would ever have it in me to try it. I want to. Literally, the curiosity is absolutely there. But I think when push comes down to shove, And again, I'm scared of very few things, but I think if push came down to shove, if I get in an elevator, probably not. I'm gonna want to, and I'm gonna talk big like I'm gonna, and I might hit a floor just to not let my friends see me get off the elevator in fear.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know that I don't know that I could, like, just in case.
Yeah, like I said, I go back and forth. Maybe with a group of people, I'd try it, but I
See,
can't.
I thought you were only supposed to try it with one person, though.
I think that's what I was just about to have that caveat, because I don't think you're allowed to do it with a large thing. I think at most it's one person. I think most of the time it's supposed to be alone. So yeah, I don't know. So what about Bloody Mary?
Can't.
No.
Nope. I cannot. I absolutely. Well, so I have. When I was little, and so well. First, how about you? Could you do it?
So I did when I was little. Real quick story. I have a very large family. We're Irish and just breeders. Everybody's got a million kids. And, from most of the major holidays like Christmas, Easter, or whatever, we would go to my grandmother's, and it would be all the cousins. And there's like 50 something first cousins, and they're almost all girls too. Almost all. There's like 4 boys out of all the like 50 something. The rest were girls. But I remember one time with my cousins, Shannon, Jen, and Lauren. Lauren's a girl as well, because I know that name can go either way. And so can Shannon, actually. So we went, and then I think a couple other cousins. We went into my grandparents' bathroom, turned off all the lights, and I think there might have been just a candle or something going. And now this is 80s in 1980s, dating myself, but we did it, and there was a weird after the third one, there was like this weird flash or green light that I noticed or something. There was like a weird flash. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was something from the candle or whatever, or maybe it was a night light in there or something. But all the girls got freaked out and ran out of there screaming. I definitely didn't see a face, but something like at the top of the mirror in like one of the top corners. Don't know what it was, and they were freaked out. Wouldn't even go back in that bathroom for the rest of the day or anything like that. I don't know what it was, and that's my one experience with it. So okay, what about you?
So I was probably a little bit older than you. I was junior, like late junior high, maybe like 8th-ish grade. And it was me and 2 friends. One of my best friends I would trust with my life at the time, and one of his friends. So we go into the bathroom, and I forget why we were there. We were just hanging out. It was like a bunch of us, but the 3 of us were like, "Yeah, we're gonna try it." Like, we were probably watching horror movies because that's what I do, and it's what everybody does who hangs out with me. So, like, yeah, fuck it, we're gonna try it. So we go into the bathroom and we close the door. Now I'm gonna explain to you. So when I walk into the bathroom, the toilet's right here. There's a sink, and then looking straight ahead when you walk in the door is the bathtub. The shower curtain was open. I need to say that because it is very important that you know the shower curtain was open. There was a small little cabinet that towels were in, but it was not big enough for anyone to fit in. And then on the right-hand side, behind the door, was like a shelf. Okay. Like it had three or 4-ish shelves. It was like a corner shelf, and there were like little trinkety, hummely looking things on it.
Okay.
So with that being said, we go into the bathroom and we close the door, and we're now facing the sink. So those shelves are behind us. The bathtub is to the right. I am in the middle. I have my best friend on my right hand. The other friend, I can't even remember who it was, honestly, on the other side. And we are holding hands, looking in this mirror with the lights off. I can't even see the mirror, but I can just kind of see that it's there because there's a window. So there's a little bit of a glare, but I can't really make anything out. And I already don't want to do this. I am now in the bathroom, but I can't look like a baby in front of these people because I just can't. So I'm gonna do it now. We hold hands and we say it, and we go, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. And I'm actually not even gonna say it a third time because I don't want to. That's how much it's affected me.
I get it.
And so we said it, and then nothing happened for like a couple seconds. And then all of a sudden it got darker. Like, but it doesn't make sense how it got darker. Like, outside didn't change. It was nighttime. There was no real light coming in other than the moonlight. You could still see that, but like the area around us got darker. I am still holding both their hands, and the shelves behind us are far enough away that one of us can't just go like this and grab. So, and neither of them moved. There was no one else in the bathroom, and all of a sudden I hear like something drag across wood, like a dragging across wood sound, and then something pegged me in the back of the head and hit the ground. And hit me hard in the back of the head, and then hit the ground. We were done. We were out. We vacated. Couple minutes go by, and we're like, I checked. I wasn't bleeding or anything. I had a little bit of a lump, nothing bad. We turned the light on. Didn't go in, but we turned the light on. And we looked, and one of the little like figure. I can't remember what they're called, but like she had little like. Those little like people statue thingies,
like Hummel
and
figure?
One of them was on the floor, and that had to have been what hit me.
Oh my god!
Now, these things were set far enough back on the shelves that they're not just going to fall. There was no stamping, no wind, no nothing, and I heard it dragging across the wood like it was sliding off the shelf.
Nope, I would have been gone, done.
Yep.
That's creepy, and I understand why you won't do it again, because like that's enough for me. As soon as you said you heard the dragging, I was like, I'm out. I'd be gone. I'd hear that sound later, guys.
I don't even think, and it's funny because like we heard it, and I don't think any of our minds put it together. Like we didn't, like we heard it, and I remember like reacting. We were like, what the. Whatever. And like, I'm still kind of trying to stay fixed on the mirror because I'm scared that's where it's coming from, whatever it is. I don't know what's going to get us. And it's funny how fast it all actually happened, but how everything seemed to slow down at the same time. It was very strange.
That's creepy. That's totally creepy. Oof.
All right. Well, I feel like we've gotten very off topic, but I do love that.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm excited to talk about my next cryptid.
Do it.
All right. So I want to talk about, I'm going to spell it first. It's Mhuwe, and I believe the correct pronunciation is Mihu.
Okay.
I apologize if it's not. So the Mihu are thought to be cursed humans. It's Lenape folklore, and it's very similar to something else we've talked about before. They're cannibalistic, they're giant, they're hairy, and in some cases they're actually called ice giants because they're a lot of times they're seen in the snow when it's cold and whatnot. So one of the cool things about the Mihu is that they believe one of two things can happen if you treat it kindly, and they believe that it's possible it could be turned human again, or more commonly believed is that you can actually befriend it.
Wow, that's cool.
Yep. So I'm going to start telling the parallels that I'm finding here and see if I feel like you already know, but the parallels to one of my favorite cryptids that I constantly make the parallels to, because y'all know me by this point, that's what I do. So this is Lenape lore, and there's another cryptid who is based in Ojibwe or Cree lore, and it's also a cursed human, and you know where I'm going with this?
Oh, and it's let me just guess, Wendigo.
Oh, you're so smart. Yeah, absolutely. But it's so funny because it's Delaware's not a big state, and they have this deer man, which I don't know about you, but screamed Wendigo to me. Is the antlers, the eyes, the burning smell, the human qualities.
even though I know deer have antlers, as soon as you said that, I was like, okay, this has Wendigo. And then as you were going on with the burnt smell and then the torso with the descriptions and stuff, I was like, that's immediately where my mind went. I was like, very cool. This is reminding me of a Wendigo. And then you had said, and I believe you had said something about an ice giant, and I believe it was Maine. It was something like almost like an ice Wendigo or something like that, or snow
something
Wendigo.
like that. Yeah.
It was. I can't remember the specifics. So yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking now. Yeah, I think it was Maine. It's my notes are all messy, but so yeah, there's two completely different cryptids that are talked about being in Delaware, but I feel like they have to be the same thing. There's no way. There's no way that they both sound so much like the Wendigo, and it's just not. But I think, I mean, probably like people, cryptids, like I don't look like you don't look like me, you don't look like my fiance, you don't look like Roy, you don't like we are the same thing, but we all look different. So why? I just feel like it has to be attached.
And when you think about it, it's like, for the most part, when you're hearing about these cryptids, it's not like these people are able to super like walk up to something. And I mean, the old man stood his ground, but they're not walking up and examining this thing. You know what I mean? Usually it runs off, you run off with something, you know? So it would stand to reason that descriptions are different because people, you know what I mean? Depending on, you know, how long they looked at it, what time of day, all that stuff comes into play, and the differences. But I agree, because they're too similar, in my opinion, to be two completely different species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Maine, you were right. It was Maine. It was either it's called a couple different things, but it was either the Kawakwu or the Apotamkin. It means White Walker or means Wendigo. But yeah, no, that's again, it's like an ice giant, yeah.
Thought I remembered that. But yeah, everything about it. I mean, that's I would 100% agree that they're same thing or somehow very similar, related in somewhat. You know what I mean? It makes more sense to me than to be two complete just different species. I mean, and the descriptions, the smells, everything. So yeah, sounds very similar to me.
Right.
So that was.
I'm glad you saw it, because I was feeling crazy.
No, and that was great, and that's why I love that we do Strange Encounters, because it doesn't have to be the UFOs, and that, you know, and that was a lot of fun, because I had never heard of either of them, and yeah, good choice, very good choice.
Thank you.
So, well, did you anything else on that one, or?
No, I think that's all I got.
All right, well, I think that's it for us this week, guys. So thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to join us next week when we set up camp in California. Can't wait. So happy camping, guys.
Bye.